Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly listened to yourself? Not the noise, not the fear, not the doubt that echoes in your mind late at night, but you, your real voice, your truth, your power. Because here's the truth most people will never tell you. The way you speak to yourself is shaping your entire life. Every thought, every decision, every relationship, every dream you either chase or abandon. And today I want to invite you into something simple, yet life-changing. For just 3 days, talk to yourself differently, not softly, not weakly, not apologetically, but with power, with intention, with love, especially if you are a woman listening to this. Because your voice, your inner voice, has been misunderstood, silenced, and reshaped by the world for far too long. Let's talk about feminine energy, not the version society sold you, not the be quiet, be small, be agreeable version. I'm talking about real feminine energy, the kind that feels deeply, the kind that knows without needing proof, the kind that can hold pain and still choose love. Feminine energy is not weakness, it is depth. And depth scares people because depth cannot be controlled. You see, a woman can walk into a room and say nothing and still shift the entire atmosphere. That's power. But somewhere along the way, many women were taught to question that power, to second guess their intuition, to shrink their emotions, to apologize for their intensity. Let me say this clearly. You were never too much. You were just surrounded by people who were too limited to understand your fullness. And this is where the conversation begins, because the way you talk to yourself determines whether you suppress your power or rise into it. So for the next 3 days, I want you to change your internal dialogue. When your mind says, I'm too emotional, you respond, my emotions are my intelligence. They guide me, not weaken me. When your mind whispers, I'm not enough, you say, I am already whole, I am already worthy, I am already worthy. I do not need permission to exist fully. When doubt creeps in, I can't do this, you answer back, watch me. Because here's what most people don't understand about women. Your emotional depth is not chaos, it is wisdom in motion. You don't just think you feel truth. And feeling truth is one of the most powerful forms of intelligence that exists. But society misunderstood that. It labeled emotional women as dramatic, sensitive women as weak, strong women as difficult, independent women as intimidating women as intimidating. Let me translate that for you. We don't understand your power, so we'll try to define it as a problem. And if you're not careful, you start believing those definitions. You start editing yourself, softening your voice, dimming your light, silencing your instincts, until one day you don't even recognize yourself anymore. That's why this matters, because self-talk is not just words. It is identity, it is conditioning, it is programming. So for 3 days, we break the pattern. Day 1, you become aware. You listen to how you speak to yourself, and it might shock you. The criticism, the doubt, the harshness, you wouldn't speak to someone you love that way. So why do you speak to yourself like that? Awareness is the first step to transformation. Day 2, you interrupt the pattern. Every negative thought, you challenge it, not gently, but firmly. Your mind says, you're not good enough. You respond, that's not truth. That's conditioning, and I choose a new belief. Your mind says, you're too sensitive. You answer, my sensitivity is my strength. It allows me to connect, to understand, to lead with empathy. Day 3, you embody a new identity. You don't just correct your thoughts, you own your power, you walk differently, you speak differently, you carry yourself like someone who knows her worth. Because here's the secret. Confidence is not something you find, it is something you practice. Let's talk about your silent power. Because not all power is loud, not all strength is visible. Some of the strongest women are the ones who kept going when no one noticed, who loved deeply after being hurt, who rebuilt themselves quietly, who carried pain without making it someone else's burden. That's not weakness, that's resilience at its highest level. You don't need to scream to be powerful, you don't need to prove yourself to be valuable. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stand in your truth without explaining it. And let's be honest, being a woman in this world isn't always easy. You are expected to be strong, but not too strong. Kind, but not naive. Ambitious, but still likable. Confident, but never intimidating. It's exhausting, trying to fit into expectations that were never designed for your authenticity. So let me remind you of something. You are not here to fit in. You are here to expand what is possible, and that starts with how you speak to yourself, because your inner voice becomes your reality. If your inner voice is critical, you will live in fear. If your inner voice is empowering, you will live in freedom. So speak to yourself like this: I trust myself. I honor my feelings. I deserve to take up space. I am powerful in my softness. I am unstoppable in my strength. Say it even when you don't fully believe it yet, because belief is built through repetition, through consistency, through choosing yourself again and again. Let's go deeper, because feminine energy is not just emotional. It is intuitive, it is creative, it is nurturing, it is transformative. A woman doesn't just experience life, she feels it. And that ability to feel deeply is what allows you to create deeply, to love deeply, to lead deeply. But again, the world misunderstood it. It told you to tough up, to stop feeling so much, to be more logical, as if logic and emotion cannot coexist. But here's the truth. Your emotions are not the opposite of logic. They are information. They tell you what matters. They tell you what aligns. They tell you what needs to change. And when you silence that, you disconnect from yourself. So for 3 days, listen to your emotions differently. Instead of judging them, get curious about them. Ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to teach me? Because growth doesn't come from suppression, it comes from understanding. And let's talk about love, because many women give love so freely to others, but struggle to give it to themselves. You pour into others, you support others, you believe in others. But when it comes to you, you hesitate, you question, you doubt. Why? You deserve the same love you give so effortlessly. So for 3 days, treat yourself like someone you deeply care about. Speak kindly to yourself. Encourage yourself. Forgive yourself. Celebrate yourself. Even the small wins, even the quiet progress, even the moments no one else sees. Because those moments are building your future. And here's something powerful. The relationship you have with yourself sets the standard for every other relationship in your life. If you don't value yourself, you will tolerate being undervalued. If you don't respect yourself, you will accept disrespect. If you don't love yourself, you will chase love instead of receiving it. So raise your standard internally first. Say this to yourself: I am not here to chase. I am here to attract what aligns with my worth. Feel that. Own that, live that, because you are not just a woman, you are a force, a presence, a story still unfolding. And yes, there will be moments of doubt, moments of fear, moments where your old voice tries to come back. But now you know better. You know that voice is not truth, it's conditioning. It's habit, it's the past trying to recreate itself, and you are no longer living in the past, you are creating something new. So when that voice shows up, you don't fight it, you replace it with something stronger, something truer, something empowering. You say, I choose growth over fear, I choose courage over comfort, I choose myself. And slowly everything changes, your confidence grows, your energy shifts, your presence becomes magnetic, not because you became someone else, but because you return to who you truly are. And that is the ultimate power. So let me leave you with this. For the next 3 days, be intentional, be aware, be powerful in your self-talk, because 3 days can start a habit. A habit can change your mindset. A mindset can change your life. And one day you'll look back and realize it wasn't the world that changed, it was the way you spoke to yourself. So speak with power, speak with love, speak with love, speak with truth, because you are not weak. You are not too much. You are not broken. You are powerful beyond measure. And it's time you start talking to yourself like you believe it.